Welcome back, everyone, to Merge Conflict, your weekly developer podcast. I'm back, Frank, live from San Francisco.
Oh my gosh. I mean, are you ever at home anymore? It feels like you're always coming back from a trip. I can't wait to find out where you're back from next week, but it's good. It's good. I actually got to see you riding around in autonomous vehicles, if I'm not mistaken, in the futuristic land of, what was it called?
San Francisco.
Okay.
San Francisco, which I think is from Big Hero 6. If I
Okay,
say, yeah.
got it. How was I have to ask, we'll talk about all the important tech stuff, but let's talk about the most important tech thing first. Did you survive your car ride with the robot driving you?
I took 6 on the first day.
Nice.
I'm all in.
You spent like $600 then? How much were these rides?
No, they're like, they're subsidized right now. That's
they?
for sure.
Okay.
So I feel as though you're right now, as far as like Waymo trying to get mass adoption out there, they're definitely subsidizing them. It's hard to say because it's a lot of traffic. It's a lot of like really slow roads in San Francisco where it can be, you can't go on highways, right? But, most of the trips were like anywhere from like $9 to, $20 basically. Some of the further ones around all of it were like $40, but it really just kind of depends on the distance and then the traffic and the time. But, it's kind of like here's the TLDR is the start of the ride and the end of the ride awkward, and I'll explain why. The middle part of the ride where you're actually riding in the car, totally normal and really smooth because it is autonomous and it knows how to see and understand that there's a stop sign and know exactly. So it takes the exact same turn, the exact same slowdown, the exact same acceleration. Like it's really which is kind of nice because a lot of times people are like with electric cars. But it's a nice car. It's a Jaguar, which I've like never been in, I don't think. So that seemed cool. And then besides that, like the experience is pretty cool. It's like, hey, James, you can like change music, and it like knows you, and then it doesn't say anything or do anything.
Yeah.
But the good part is that you can kind of just hail it from everywhere. There's like a bajillion, so you can get one within like a minute.
Cool.
You can just get in. You just have it unlock from the phone. The good part is that like if you're like in your car and you want to talk to people, or you want to take a call, or you want to do something that's not awkward because there's another person there, and Waymo says the microphones aren't on. The downside of that is like it's kind of like this glimpse in this dystopian future where like we're all very isolated and it's just like us, you know what I mean? It's like there's a sad part of that. So I took a mixture of Ubers and Waymos. I tended to do Waymos because they were like very, very fast to pick up.
Good.
And A/B tested it as well. And I guess with Waymo, what's also interesting is exactly what car you're getting every single time because it's the exact same vehicle.
That's fine.
So not that matters to me, but it's of interest. And they keep them pretty clean. There's that. The pickup and drop off are weird because it's got to find a place to pick you up in a very congested city. So like Waymo will try to get over and it gives you an area where it's trying to pick you up, but sometimes it picks you up on the wrong side of the street. Sometimes it picks you up like before turning because it's like, I found a spot, come to me, type of thing. And you can kind of dictate where you want it to go. So if you know the area, you can kind of say, okay, it's going to be better over there. But again, sometimes it's like, I just dropped someone off, get on in, James, and it'll have like the JM or whatever that kind of spins around. And then it's the same with the drop off where you're like, okay. And it's like, we're getting ready to drop you off. We're going to find a spot, but you're not allowed to get out yet.
Okay.
Don't try to get out because we're not letting you out. And it tries to find a spot. And sometimes it'll be in the wrong lane because it couldn't get over. So it like stops and it's like, I'm going to get over. I'm definitely going to get over. And it just waits. It waits for the vehicles to let it get over. And San Francisco drivers seem to be like, all right, Waymo, whatever, like, fine, go, and it's like, because it's like someone was honking at it. It's like, who are you honking at?
Yeah.
Nobody's in there. You know what I mean?
The robot doesn't care.
So that's really, it's like, it has no feelings. It does not care. So it was a really interesting experience, but overall pleasant, I would say. And everything oddly worked as expected. It did things that if I put on my computer mind made sense. Where it's like, oh, I'm going to try to get over because of this. But then I could see into the future. I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of like construction happening. I wouldn't have gotten over yet. So it's like gets over and then gets back over, right?
Yeah.
The the LiDAR is crazy to watch because it can get the detail on the map of like little dogs and of little things. So, and the LiDAR goes really far, like almost a whole block. It's like wild and through houses. So it's really a crazy experience to watch the LiDAR work. But yeah, it was making moves that made sense, especially as a computer. As a human, I wouldn't make all of those moves. Sure. Many of them I would, but it never got itself in trouble. And if it did, like there was one place where there was like a lot of things happening on all four corners, like construction and other stuff. So it's like processing, and it would just wait.
Yeah.
It's like, it's going to be like really safe. Right. So, and then it was fine. So okay. I took like 10 Waymos, I think. And it was pleasant. So +1 to Waymo, good technology. James approved.
That's exciting. Thank you for the report. I'm a little bit jealous. I've always wanted to ride on one of these cars and I still haven't. So I have to get my butt over to the city and try that puppy out.
Yeah.
No tipping, huh? That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, no tipping. Nothing. I was worried the first time. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to give this robot a 5-star."
Yeah.
It opened it up. It's like, "Thanks for riding. Have a good day. Bye." And it was gone. Gone. All right, cool. So
yeah, I'm sure though that nice. All those little heuristics of predicting into the future a little bit more. It's so much low-hanging fruit for them to work on for the next 10, 20 years. So I'm not even at all concerned about those. All I care about right now is safety and not driving all the other human drivers completely insane. And it sounds like you only drove them a little bit insane. So that's pretty great. I want to take mine out to the beach. I want it to go on some of the windy, uppy, downy roads and see how it does on those. I don't care about the highways. Highways are easy.
Yeah, no. That was very, very interesting. So it was good. And I was there for GitHub Universe. I was there the first GitHub Universe ever.
Cool. So I remember the old GitHub conferences. I've never been to a GitHub Universe either. So you're doing all these first time things and making me jealous here. But I remember GitHub used to have a presence at all the conferences, but I'm not going to conferences anymore. So I don't even get to see them there. James, I have to admit, I did try to read the synopsis of the GitHub Universe. And every time I read the word agent, I decided to take a drink. And I made it through one paragraph, and I have no idea what actually happened. So I look forward to your report. And I'm just keeping it true this time. Every time you say agent, I'm taking a shot of scotch. That's terrible.
Perfect. Oh, that's that's quite a lot of alcohol. Maybe a sip, maybe a little sipperoni.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so GitHub Universe is a fascinating one because it's like a developer conference about GitHub, but is it also about other stuff that's not GitHub related, right? Like, who's it for? Is it for someone that uses GitHub? Is it someone that uses Copilot? Is it someone that is building extensions for Copilot or for GitHub? Is it open source creators? Is it businesses? Who is it for? Like, if you go to Build or you go to Ignite or you go to Google I/O, it's because you're like this developer. Like, you're not necessarily. You could be building software kind of for GitHub, like the ecosystem extensions and maybe integrations. Like, is that for you, or is it for me, or is it for everybody? And it was a blend of everybody. It was the most diverse conference because it wasn't like just like the diversity of people from all over the place, but also like the attendees. Like, there was startup founders, there's people that I met that worked at ARM and Motorola, and then there were like all of the like kind of competitors in a way. Like Google was there, and like Juni, and like all these like integrations, like the integrations into GitHub, right? Because it's like an open platform, and the attendees were super broad. And I had a bunch of awesome like Xamarin developers that like, they're like, oh man, like I saw you, James, like at a conference like 12 years ago. Like, it's so cool to run into you again. Okay. And they're like, oh, I'm working at like the state government. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, and then there was someone I sat down at lunch and she's like, oh, I just like started this AI startup 3 months ago and I'm hiring people. You know what I mean? It was just like, very fascinating, like a blend of individuals that were there. And yeah, I think for me, when I think of GitHub Universe, it's sort of like, hopefully like, GitHub is more than just github.com, but it's actions, it's the planner, it's GitHub Copilot, it's integrations to IDEs now, it's agents doing stuff in the cloud, in your IDE, all these things, right? So there's all these things happening, and it's now broader than ever. So it's kind of a little bit of that, to be honest with you. If you actually go through the change log, you'll kind of see that there's like kind of updates for everything. There's updates to like integrations into VS Code. There's integrations in this whole thing that we'll talk about with the coding agent that's out there. There's a whole brand new dashboard that's available, brand new things for code reviews that are happening, like integrations with like CodeQL and like linters. There's new planning modes. There's new updates for the MCP server, integrations into new IDEs, new updates to like a org-wide code quality visibility, which is kind of fascinating.
We got to
There's a
talk about that
metrics
one.
dashboard. There's all sorts of stuff, right? So there's a little bit of everything. Now, I was in the VS Code vibe coding booth, so that was like me and Katie like ran that, which was super fun. But Pierce was in the keynote. So I think the vibe overall in Fort Mason, which is like these older, like, in Marina, like the bigger warehouse-esque buildings like on the water, is a fascinating setup. It is very vibrant. Like the vibe overall of GitHub Universe is very bright, very GitHub-y, very exciting. Like it was a fun developer conference, 2 days really quick. I mean, it was like boom, in and out, right? Now, I didn't get to go to any sessions or anything, but I did watch the keynote, which was like where the majority of things were. So like my TLDR of like GitHub Universe is like, I definitely would recommend this conference. I think it's a fun conference, but I'm not like going there if I'm a .NET developer looking for like .NET things, right? Or if I'm a JavaScript developer looking for JavaScripty things. It's like very like GitHub-y.
Yeah. Is it talking about the future, or is it also like, I don't know, maybe I'm the greatest PR reviewer ever. I'm just all about reviewing other people's code. Would I have a place in this conference, or is it just more about like future announcements for the GitHub?
No, I think it's both for sure. It's very community based, I would say. Like there's a lot of community areas and like expert areas. And then like I think also because there's an entire like floor, these are long, big buildings of like all the sponsors and all like the integrations, like you definitely have like plenty of people to talk to and I think sessions to go to for it. I bet you'd be able to fill in enough basically for it. And there was like hacker spaces. I got this GitHub Copilot Lego set, which is really
Okay,
cool
come on.
that I need to do. But they were also like 3D printing stuff. There were these badges, they're hackable badges that you can get. You've seen them on Twitter, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's cool. I have
They're
to admit,
they're
I want my Raspberry Pi GitHub badge. Maybe I'll steal yours the next
they're pretty cool. Wi-Fi. Yeah, you'd probably do more of it with it than I would. But there's a little Tamagotchi Mona in here and a bunch of games, and you can hack it and put your own stuff on here. So I think that like in that aspect, I'm like, well, I've never seen some of this stuff like at a conference. I'm like, that's really cool. Like it's a fun developer conference where, and this is what I want. It's my last conference of the year. And I'm like, told Kate, I was like, yeah, like, we're going to do the thing that we did at Build, but I don't got any sessions. Like, let's just chill, have fun. Like, this is what we're here for. And like, let's take it in because I'm interested, like what we can improve upon next year. But having never gone to a GitHub Universe, I'm like, I don't know what the vibe is, right? Like, I don't know the flow, and the vibe was pretty fun. So I definitely recommend it to people. And there was several thousand people, so it's like pretty big.
Oh, wow.
It was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. Yeah.
Interesting. I know you always have a funny perspective on these things because you're kind of half working, half James, half work
Yeah.
James, half not life James. But I am curious, like, what were you doing mostly at the time? I know you like, were you just hanging out in the hall, chit chatting with people, or were you chit chatting with higher ups, making the big business deals, doing your integrations, or were you just kind of slumming it with the devs? How did you spend your time?
A little bit of everything. Like Katie and I were in the Vibe Code booth, so we were vibing with folks that were coming on. So like each day I had like maybe 2 hours. Like so on Monday we sort of set up, made sure everything was working, did tech checks. And then we got there on Tuesday and I think I vibe coded for like 2.5 hours. And then the same on Thursday, it was like 2.5 hours or so. And then Katie did some. Then we had other hosts like Harold and people from Figma came on. So there was like one host and one vibe coder. So I did a little bit of both. And then between that, like most of the VS Code, like a lot of the VS Code team was there. And obviously I know a bunch of people from some VS team members were there and some Azure team members were there. I was mostly hanging out a lot with Den, who works on like Spec Kit and works on like the MCP stuff, hanging out with some people from GitHub that I knew. And then just like mixing and mingling and talking to people. Yeah, there were some higher up execs that I got to say hi to that like are my management chain and outside my management chain. Like I didn't get to see I saw Satya doing an interview like on stage, but I didn't like hang with Satya, right? I wasn't like, oh, Satya.
Didn't get burritos
but it seemed like he
together.
was walking around. Yeah, but it was interesting. I went to the Syntax podcast meetup because I'd met Scott Talinsky not too long ago, and I've struck up a few conversations with him. My buddy Luke was there that I went to college with. You remember Luke?
Mhm.
He was at my wedding
Mhm.
with Diana and the kids, and we hung out a bunch. So it was really good to catch up with him. He's working on a startup called Volt. They're like a new NPM package manager thingy. It's not my world, but
Hmm.
it seems cool. And yeah, I got to meet some people from like Netflix and from Blue Sky. So it was kind of like a blend of everyone where because I knew a few people and they knew people, you're kind of like
Oh,
just it kind of reminded me of you remember the .NET Fringe conference
yeah,
in
those are fun.
Portland.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of a much bigger vibe of that,
Yeah.
right? Where people are just hanging and chilling and just kind of like, yeah, let's kind of hang and talk and have fun. So that's how I was. I would love to have gone to some sessions and and mingle around a little bit, to like go to stuff, but I'm like, I'll watch them online later, right? I'm
Yeah.
not here for that. I'm here to like talk to people.
2 days is
So
fast.
yeah,
It is kind of fun that it's not a specific technology focus because I do tend to go to like .NET conferences, and so it's all .NET. But so it's kind of fun that like it's tooling. So everyone who does any kind of development is going to be there. So that's kind of fun. Yeah.
yeah.
So, how has this tooling improved? Are there any announcements in paragraphs number 2 or 3 that I just didn't make it to, or did I get everything in paragraph 1 when I passed out drunk?
Well, let's talk about the developer tools that we use every day on our computers, such as VS Code.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do use that.
Uh,
I yell at it sometimes, but I use it mostly.
or Xcode, or maybe use IntelliJ or use these other IDs where GitHub Copilot maybe, right? Okay, so a few things in VS Code that is coming up, specifically around Copilot stuff. Obviously, we're at a GitHub event, so we're talking about GitHub-y things, including Copilot. So the very first thing is that inside of VS Code, you now have a new plan mode that's available. So plan agent, if you will. So now these modes, we used to call them modes, okay? And now they're just been rebranded to agent. So like you remember I had ask, edit, and agent.
Mm-hmm.
Now each of those are agents, and those agents can do stuff. So it's kind of a rebranding because I don't think that like the agent mode made a lot of sense to people, but like these are agents that do specific tasks, like resonate with people a little bit more. So like Playwright, for example, came out with um, a few different agents to help generate Playwright tests, like write, or do Playwright planning, generate tests agent, and then like a healing agent. So you could say, hey, I wrote some code, run the healing agent, and it has this large amount of instructions, like a very defined system prompt. Basically, it knows it's an expert in that thing. And this was very similar to what chat modes were when we were talking about beast mode, for example, often. But these are now like agents that are meant to do specific things. So, for example, you might have like a CSS agent, or might have a TDD agent, or a WinForms agent, which is what I'm experimenting with right now, or a Maui agent, right? And these are things that are like really defined at specific tasks, right? So you can imagine like these specific agents doing stuff. So now there's a planning agent, and the planning agent knows how to plan stuff. So it knows how to very meticulously create step-by-step implementation instructions. And there's even a new thing in VS Code called sub agent.
Okay.
So what it will do is it will go off and basically do things in parallel in their own mini context window. So for example, if it needs to go grab a bunch of context from a bunch of files, it can do all that in parallel instead of like read a file,
Nice.
read a file, read a file, and bring it back.
Yeah.
And then so it can analyze your code base, generates your plans, it asks you open-ended questions, it validates requirements with you, and then it puts a plan together that you can execute immediately, or that you can just create a prompt basically and check it into source code that you could then execute later on. It could be then a spec that you basically have inside of your code base if you want. And you could do it later, or you could delegate it to the cloud or something like that, or the CLI. You could delegate things. So that's the plan mode stuff that's in there.
I gotta tell you, when you said WinForms agent, my ears just picked up. You say WinForms, and I am immediately interested. I mean, I got my start programming basically doing VB and then WinForms. So I love me my WinForms. And you mentioned this before the podcast. You're talking about the WinForms agent. I'm like, I need this. I do. 10 days of WinForms programming per year, but I need this WinForms agent. And I'm like, James, what is an agent? Because you're like, well, that word means different things depending on what month we're talking about. So
Yeah.
now it seems like agent is very large system prompts, whereas system prompts used to be these small things. Now people are writing very, very long text files, markdown files, uh, basically specializing. The AI to do certain tasks and things. So I've actually been reading through the WinForms agent. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but everything's an agent, so let's just call it an agent. And
It's an agent.
it's fun. It's giving it boundaries mostly. Like here, I want you to do some C# code cleanup. Whenever you're editing files of the certain type, specifically designer files, because it turns out you have to
Yeah.
be very careful with what syntax you use in designer files. So it's putting a guardrails around the AI saying, use a limited syntax when you're editing these kinds of files. But when you're in a normal C# file, use C# 14, throw away all that C# 10 code. That stuff is trash, upgrade this, upgrade that. And it's fun. I feel like every little while we're talking about new ways to do system prompts in these things. When we're talking about like spec kit, those are basically a whole bunch of system prompts to be feeding it and tests to go out and do. But I think we are starting to find that happy ground. I agree that ask mode and those kind of actual modes are a little weird because you say it has like a planning feature now. Well, I think we've all been using GPT-5 and you can't ask it to like make something uppercase without it coming up with a 10-step plan it's going to execute. And then it has to work through its
Yeah.
10-step plan to just uppercase some text. And so there are built-in plans, but it's nice to see people are trying to refine that too. Like, don't just
Yeah. You
plan
can
everything.
Yeah, you can think the interesting about each of these agents is that they can also have specific tools that are available
Hmm.
to them that are like in VS Code. So like the plan agent, can't write any code, right? It can only consume and plan together, and it can fetch files from the internet so you can research things that are out there. I was working on my badge website for like readme badges, like the little shield
Yeah.
things. And I was like, oh, like I need you to go, like, I want to implement this, basically GitHub stars and these other things. Like go figure out like what makes sense in a code first readme. And it went out and it like read some repos that I gave it. It read like the Shields.io documentation. It looked at the GitHub and it pulled it all back and put a plan together and asked me questions.
Hmm.
That was really nice. And because it has access to those specific tools. And then the cool part, like you're saying, is these agents can move around with you. So in the different editors or on github.com. So if I go to github.com and I assign an issue to Copilot or I start a new task, so like on github.com, you can just go to github.com/copilot or to your repo and you just say, open agents panel and you just describe the coding task you want to work on, give it a branch if you want it to work off a specific branch, and then a custom agent. So I can then pick whatever agent is there.
Hmm.
So for example, that's nice if you're like, oh, I want to right now run a new task to, plan out some playwright things for end-to-end testing or like do some WinUI web work or UI work, then I give it that specific agent. Also, it'll just use the generic system prompts, right? This
Yeah.
generic general agent that does stuff, right? Which is good. So I'm really kind of like this because you could imagine, oh, I know I want to like work really close on like just the unit testing. So these agents can have like very specific things for it. And what I think at the keynote and what they talked about was that these different companies and they have this idea of like agent HQ that GitHub is developers and agents working together, is that companies will have agents that you can just add. So you can think of it as like a repo. There's awesome GitHub, which has a
Hmm.
bunch of agent files in there, but you can imagine, let me just go browse a marketplace of agents that make sense for my application. Because you can almost imagine like if you're creating a React application, you might want to have a React agent or like have multiple agents working together on it that get handed off. So like the cool part about plan mode with the VS Code is that there's the plan agent, the plan mode agent. I'm going to call it modes and agents, but the same. The plan agent. Um, at the end of the, it creates the plan and then it has little buttons that says, what do you want to do next? And it says, do you want to start the implementation or do you want to write a file? And then it'll automatically switch to the normal agent mode inside of there. And so it automatically switches and it starts to do stuff. It kind of will put prompts in there, which is cool automatically, which is really cool. So you could imagine you might have an agent that is going to plan, I'm going to plan unit tests. And you have another one that's like, okay, then hand this off to the unit test agent, and then, okay, now hand this off to the API agent that does a bunch of stuff. So you're kind of orchestrating these things together. So that's really, really neat, I think, in general, to kind of being able to have these agents that are moving around on the different ones out there. So yeah, you said like there's a bunch of pre-built ones. So there's one from like Launch Darkly, from Octopus Deploy, from JFrog, from Amplitude, from PagerDuty, from Dynatrace, from Databricks, and a bunch of other ones. So yeah, you can just go create your own agents today.
I want to repeat something. I want to emphasize something you said, because I didn't know about this, but github.com/github/awesome-copilot is a bunch of examples of all this stuff. So examples of prompts, which are kind of we've talked about those 30 years ago. It feels like feels like forever ago, and this is one way to customize it. Instructions, which we've also talked about, another way to in your repo to give specific instructions to the AI. Now there's a new folder called Agents, which is this new stuff you're talking about, but there's also the one that you were mentioning before, the chat modes. And I think it's really fantastic to have this awesome Copilot repository, because it's a million examples of different ways to customize these puppies. I have to admit, I think when we were talking about the instructions, I was admitting that I still don't use instructions nearly enough. I don't use any of this stuff nearly enough. I don't use any of these customization steps nearly enough. So I think you may not want to use a specific one from Awesome Copilot, but I think you should definitely go there and read through them to jog the brain cells and see, oh gosh, it never even occurred to me that I could customize it for generating MCP servers in low-level C code running on ARM or something silly like that. This is a really cool repo, which I know it wasn't announced or anything. It's probably very old itself, but I didn't know about it, so I think someone else out there might enjoy it also.
Yeah, and I think the idea of all these examples being there, and I got, some of the Awesome Copilot came out of a lot of talk from myself and other teams and things like that, is, yeah, just like, we need this amazing repo of samples or things that people can just pick. And I put some of mine up there too. So it's like, here's the different modes and here's the different instructions that I have that people can just like, pull down basically. So yeah, I really, really like it. And there's a bunch of collections, a bunch of things that you can just go grab, and then you can easily one-click install basically. So I like the idea of it, and I'm pretty excited to see like how this continues to evolve over time in general inside of it. So I think that'll be really, really neat. And that's the thing that I've been kind of most excited about, because there's also this, parallel work stream of writing code locally in your code editor, and then writing and doing things in the CLI, and then also doing things in the cloud.
Right.
So kind of like there's different ways to use these agents, lots of agents be everywhere.
Drink.
But there hasn't been anything really unified about it, to be honest with you. So one of the other exciting features of VS Code, but also that came to github.com/Copilot, is this agents sessions view.
Okay.
And it's a new pane. So you know how you have the Git pane, you have like the extensions pane, you have your code pane. Now there's an agent sessions pane.
Okay.
And inside that, it will show you all of your local chat agents. So everything that you're doing on the chat. So you can see all your history. You can rename things. You can start new chats. You can do a whole bunch of things like wherever you want. There is now also the GitHub Copilot Cloud Agent. It used to be the coding agent. Now it's the cloud agent, which makes way more sense. It's happening in the cloud. That's anytime you delegate anything on github.com, it's a cloud agent. Hello. Good. Thank you, marketing. Crack marketing team over did that. It makes so much more sense.
This is like assigning GitHub to a bug or something like that, right?
Exactly.
This would be that? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That would be exactly that. Or just saying like, I need you to go make an orange theme in my app, go off and do it in some other thread, right? So you can create an issue or not. So that's exactly what it is. Go fix this bug, create the PR, go. It works in a PR and goes. Now, with that view inside of VS Code, you can actually watch the session happening, and you can chat with Copilot in real time. So if you see it and you're monitoring it and you're like, oh, it's making it a different color orange than I thought, you could put it back on track. But also now on github.com, you can do kind of the same exact thing. You can actually watch the agent session. You can chat with it. It's the same experience, right? It's
Okay.
beautiful. Nice. So that's really cool in general of
Sorry.
like actually watching it off.
Sorry, I'm going to use you as a documentation because I'm too
Okay.
lazy to go read the documentation. I know github.com/copilot like is a thing. Whenever I'm
Yep.
bored, I just chat with it because that's what I do. Um,
Yes.
but you can actually assign it real work in that UI also, or do you recommend? Um, what is your preferred way to assign work to
Ah,
Copilot on the cloud? Let's say I don't even have VS Code installed on my machine. You know, I'm
oh
on
yeah.
my phone. I'm about to get on an airplane. I need it to do my job for
Yep.
me. How do I?
Yes.
What's your preferred way?
That's a great question because everything I just told you, you can also do directly from the mobile phone,
Good.
which is funnily enough what I did on the way back home from GitHub Copilot from GitHub Universe. As I chatted, I like fired up a bunch of like cloud tasks basically, and I was like coding from the cloud, coding from 3,000 or 30,000 feet, right?
Yeah.
And I was just watching it do the thing. So what I like to do is when you go to github.com/copilot, if you expand the left-hand side, you're going to see chat, which is just a chat. Then you're going to see agents.
Hmm.
That's the one that you want to go to. Loops and spaces, I don't quite understand just yet. I kind of now understand
I'm glad there's
spaces.
something you don't understand. That's nice to hear. Thanks.
Loops, I really don't want to understand, but April explained to me spaces, which is imagine you're at a company where you have, or even you, where you have um multiple repos, right? You have a back end repo and a front end repo, and then you have this other third party library you're using inside, and actually like you need to have a common space. So like GitHub Copilot has the context of like all three things. You can kind of bridge it together if that
Oh,
makes sense. It's kind of like making Copilot aware of the project scope that could span multiple repos, or you could upload files to it, for example, like maybe you had a bunch of spec docs. You could say, here's iCircuit, but actually iCircuit has 8 repos associated with it. You could put it in a space and then work off a space. So agents is where you want to go. Now, Frank, that's not where I go. That's where I go to monitor the agents, what they're
okay.
doing. But actually, I just go to the repo. So go to your
My
repo.
favorite repo.
And even in the mobile app, I go to the repo that's there. And when I go to, let's say, feedback flow, right? On the very top, there is a chat with Copilot, and then there's an open agents panel. So just open the agents panel at the very
There
top,
is an
like next to
open
the
agents
search.
panel. It's so funny how your eyes. I've just learned to not look up there.
Hmm.
There's a whole
Yep, that's where you need to
cloud
go.
to click on. I've
The
clicked
whole
on it and
cube.
it wants my input. It always wants my
It wants
input,
your
James.
input, and you can select the branch, and you can select the custom agent, which is that little Copilot
The
button, which is kind
frog.
of
The
weird,
frog
but
icon. Got
the,
it.
the little froggy guy. Yep. So you can do that.
Okay.
And then additionally, if you go to the pull request tab, there's also a new agent task next to the new pull request. And if you go to the issues, you can open an issue and then assign it
Yeah.
immediately. So that one's not as obvious. But basically that's how you do it.
Okay.
It's a little cloud, looks like a CLI in the cloud. That's what it looks like.
Looks like a
And there's also one, by the way, next to the code button. See how there's like go to file plus a file. There's a little
ooh.
they basically inserted that little cloud icon everywhere, so you could attempt to click on it from everywhere. So it's really there, right? So okay,
Yeah,
so inside of VS
sorry,
Code,
I just want to say,
yeah,
yeah, I
go ahead.
like the little cloud icon. When you click on the little Copilot/frog guy, it says you have no custom agents right now, so that's cool. So what I should do is go to awesome Copilot, steal a couple agents, throw them into my repository, and then I'll have yeah, I'll have some little frog/Copilot guys to help me out.
Yeah. Else it'll just use the normal general agent, which is what I've been using forever. So you don't have to have an agent. It has agent. It should actually just have like
James,
Copilot, which should be
it's
like
agents
normal
all the way
agent
down. I just need to know where to
all the way down.
insert my agents so I can have more
Yes.
agents on my
Now,
agents.
the last thing, so the agent sessions panel inside of VS Code shows you all your local ones, shows you all your cloud tasks in agent stuff there. It will also show you your GitHub Copilot CLI. So it'll show you
Hmm.
all of your CLI history there. Now, here is what really is cool, because I'm not a CLI guy. Some people are. But you can actually, from VS Code, open the Copilot CLI in 2 ways. One, you can click new, and it will actually give you a GUI for the CLI and
What?
like parse
You're
the CLI. You
you're
can tap
breaking
with
what
it.
words mean.
It's amazing. But you can also just say open the terminal here, and it'll do a full view terminal, full interaction, everything that you can tap with it. That's there. So that's really cool. So you can see everything. Now, here's what's mind-boggling. The
That's
last
all
one.
mind-boggling, James, but okay.
What if it wasn't only Copilot inside of this agent sessions?
What else could
What
it be?
if maybe OpenAI Codex,
Oh.
maybe Claude Code,
Oh.
right? Now, with this release, the Visual Studio Code team has made an API so different agents like Claude, like Codex, can integrate. So now if you install the Codex, this one works right out of the box today with Codex, other ones coming soon, but with OpenAI Codex, if you prefer that extension, that experience, you can now install it and it will show up. All of your Codex chats will show up right there, side by side, everything else that you're doing. Now, on top of that, though, this is mind boggling. You can now, from VS Code, sign in to the OpenAI Codex extension, not created by Microsoft, created by OpenAI. And you can now sign in with your GitHub Copilot subscription and get billed through your GitHub Copilot subscription. So you don't even need an OpenAI account to use the OpenAI Codex extension to, if you like that look and feel compared to the built-in Copilot one.
So this is all the business talk happening at GitHub Universe with integrations. This is why Google's showing up with their Gemini, because they need to get their Gemini hooked into all of this stuff. Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. It wasn't good enough. People couldn't just fork VS Code. Now they actually want to integrate with VS Code. Geez, what a world we live in.
So, better together, baby. Just saying.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Because honestly, we say Copilot all the time. We say OpenAI all the time. We say VS Code all the time. And it's really hard for my brain not to just merge them all together into one thing. It's honestly a little hard for me to remember that they actually are separate entities and that there's other players out there that want involved in this. So good job.
It's cool. It's super cool now. So like it's even extended so much that as these agents from different companies plug in, you can actually, in the main Copilot chat that you might have open, you're like, I'm working on something. You can say like send a thing, like you can send a message to go work on a thing, or you can say delegate. And as of a week ago, when you delegated a task, it would only have the option of going to the GitHub Copilot Cloud, agent. But now it will ask you, do you want to go to the CLI and run this in the background? Do you want to use OpenAI Codex? Do you want to use the cloud agent? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to delegate this to from VS Code? So you can imagine that world opens up down the road based on how you want to work, right? So different CLIs, different integrations.
So can I create custom agents that the cloud agents can use utilizing third-party agents? Can I get 3 levels of agents happening here? Or do the third party like Claude and Gemini, do they not use my custom agents? And just to be clear, are any of these execs aware there are more words in the English language than agent?
I think only agent is the only thing. We tried modes, we tried other things, agents. They're all agents all the way down. That is a good
the
question.
Custom agents that we've been talking about, like the markdown files, which I guess is a Copilot feature. I'm curious if the other, like I said, the Anthropics, can they utilize them?
I'm not sure. Now, what Kyle said in the beginning, because some of the stuff is like, it's the announcement and things are like rolling and happening, is that you had like Anthropic and OpenAI on stage and like talking about their integrations. And my assumption is that like, I think yes, but I can't guarantee no. Like he talked about on stage, Kyle did, who's the COO of GitHub, said like, hey, we have GitHub Copilot, but wouldn't it be great if you could add in Claude and you could add in OpenAI and everything could just work together in the same views, the same panels. So when you go and you look at your agent sessions, you can spin it up and you can say, which one do you want to use? Where do you want to go? X, Y, Z. I think that is where it's going, but now it's just probably like some business lawyer thing. I don't know.
Okay. So my very last use of the word agent here, it's not true. When I go to GitHub Copilot, and click agents there, I assume that's just the Copilot agent. That's not going to be anyone else's agent. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't know. I
VS
mean, it
Code
made
is
it.
getting those
Kyle made it.
features, but we'll see about GitHub. Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle made it sound like if I went over, and I could be wrong, and people can correct me, even though I work at this company, but is that when you go to agent sessions, he made it kind of seem like if I do new agent session, it would pop up and it'd be like, which one do you want to go to? Like, do you
Okay.
want to use Claude? Do you
Yeah.
want to use whatever? It made it sound that way, but I can't be 100% sure.
At least the UI I'm getting at the moment on November 1st here. I am not getting an option for other models other than whatever Copilot
Correct.
is.
Yes.
Okay. Very cool.
I can read the
So
blog. According,
VS Code, also to summarize your CLI thing, you can use a GUI to run a CLI that can then present a GUI. So that's fantastic. I just love the inception
yeah.
here.
Okay, this is what it says. Over the coming months, coding agents from Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, Cognition, XAI, and more will become available directly within GitHub as part of your paid GitHub Copilot subscription.
Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, I always forget about Grok. Okay, got it.
That's wild. So
There's a lot of business deals happening here.
That's what it says. Well, what's very fascinating when I talk to a lot of businesses really don't like paying 8 different companies for AI tools, right? They would like to pay one thing. And Copilot has a big advantage there. And now this is kind of like really extending it, right? But then you pick the tools that you want, right? And I think it's been pretty powerful when you think of GitHub, right? Is like, you can use GitHub as like the repo, but you could also use any other planning tool. You could use other things like, you can choose any IDE, anything like that. It's not like locked down, right? And I think that's where they're kind of going with it, which is kind of like bananas.
Taking a step back though, like as an AI person, I cannot believe how quickly we commoditized these AIs. Like what's it been? Like 3 years of having these things around and already like we're more we've brought it up an abstraction level.
Dude, 9 months.
9 months.
9 months.
Yeah, I don't. Time doesn't even exist anymore with these things, and they've already been so commoditized that you just rattled off like at least 3 different models I've never even heard of. So great.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So I think that's all really powerful. The other thing that's been happening is like code reviews got a huge overhaul and now uses like actions to like do code QL and to like a bunch of linters and a bunch of things as well inside of it, which is really cool.
I know we're going late, but I just got to ask you, what is the code QL thing? Code quality. I think they keep saying like repo quality and all that stuff. And I was trying to read the docs and it wasn't making too much sense, but I am here. I am all about code quality, dude. My code is of the highest quality, whatever the AIs say. I'm curious what the AIs are going to say. What are we talking here? Can I just have like a robot go through my code and tell me how terrible I am at programming? Or is this a little bit more directed or is it very broad?
Okay. So CodeQL, it's an analysis engine from GitHub and it does security checks, identifies vulnerability in your code, kind of treats code as data. This is what
little thing called the halting problem says that's impossible, but sure.
Yeah. So basically, as one of the code reviews that maybe you would normally do is you would look at the code and then ideally you would also look at any security vulnerabilities. So now through the assigning a PR to Copilot, it can then review the code directly for the code quality.
Is that just the changes though, or is it looking at the whole repo? It's a little unclear, the docs.
I think that it is looking at the repo at the pull request and the code changes.
Yeah.
But you can set up code QL to do like at a repo level as well. So you can set it up on top of it. Yeah.
Because honestly, it was a little confusing to me that it's involved in PRs at all, because I think the worst PRs out there are when people start changing stuff unrelated to the PR. And that's what it kind of reeked of that. I really wouldn't mind though. Just a task running in the background being like, hey dude, improve your code. This part stinks. Let's do better.
Well, that's the thing that's very fascinating is like, I think I was looking at loop, like the loops inside of Copilot. And like, I think maybe that will happen is like, I think that you can basically say, hey, every night do this thing, almost like a cron job and like run these agents to do these things. So it'd be cool to have like a code quality,
100%,
code quality agent that would just say, oh, I'm going to go do this thing. Oh, okay. Like when I open a PR, like open an issue, right, that you could review. And I think that's maybe what that does, but I'm not really 100% sure. So too many
Yeah,
new things.
but we were just talking on the previous episode or the previous two of we want more proactive. So maybe both of us will do our homework and find out what these loop things are.
But the cool part is that, like, also when you assign things to the coding agent, like the cloud agent tasks or whatever, like it will automatically just do it as well as a final pass. Because it's like,
If you
hey,
enable
the
it,
AI generated a bunch of exactly. It'll just do it. It's going to do secret scanning. It'll do a bunch of things. So it'll just like check all the stuff, vulnerabilities, give you a whole bunch of things automatically, basically, which is really cool.
Cool.
So
okay, I'm vaguely interested in that one. Yeah. I was a little worried about PRs being like, all right, we made everything uppercase and we completely rewrote your code base because we think you're a bad programmer.
yeah, I don't know. I think it just does it on the thing, basically, and that's it. Yeah. So no. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's just some of the highlights in there. Like there's a new home dashboard. There's a new, like, for businesses, like Copilot, like dashboard. You can see all like the AI usage. The MCP registry is now like everywhere inside of like Eclipse and JetBrains. You can now delegate tasks to the Copilot cloud agent. Like you can just like hit the little button from IntelliJ IDEs. So like, kind of, it's nice to see kind of a lot of these features go downstream. Like VS Code gets it first, and then like Visual Studio will get it, and all the other ones will get it. So you can kind of grab that as well, which is kind of cool. But then, a lot of the new stuff I'm really excited about is kind of that, I think VS Code, what's fascinating is like it being the open source code editor, and also like AI integrations being open source, like we've talked about before, is like, it's also like bring your own whatever you want, right? People are like, why is there Codex? Why is there this Claude thing? It's like, well, because people like different things. And fun. Like one of the best things that VS Code can do is kind of embrace it, right? Embrace everybody that's out there, and like make it so people don't have to reinvent the wheel, and it has like a unified infrastructure. Like the thing that upsets me the most sometimes, like, is that, that little pane on the left hand side with like all the icons that open, like you have too many extensions, like too many things show up. Like I don't need 1,000 things. Like give me like a unified dashboard. That's what I want.
And sorry, won't turn this into a VS Code episode, but after we were talking about like I forgot, like profiles or whatever, you can customize how VS Code looks, but I recommend everyone go through and delete as many things off of that left thing as you can. You'd be surprised how liberating it feels to finally clean up the VS Code. VS Code used to be a text editor with a few little features on it. Now it's all features, and it's great to get rid of a lot of those features and get the visual clutter out of your way. So if you haven't done it, go clean all that stuff out. Okay, PSA over.
That's my jam. Yeah, and there's also like some of the stuff like I don't use, like I don't need contain. I can bring up containers when I need containers, but maybe I don't need containers. And then you can drag and drop them around. And the thing I also have been doing too is on the chat view, you can also drag things up top. So like there's an entire pane called like chat debug. I just put it next to chat. Like it's just right there. I don't need them in two separate areas. Like I'm chatting. Let me look at the chat debug. Oh, okay. There it is.
Okay, one more PSA. Those things on the left, a lot of them you can right click on them and say like, move them over to the right. That's cool. Yep. Yeah. So you can actually rearrange your ID and get it nicely customized. I could not, James, for the life of me, figure out how to get them back on the left again. Because there's a right click, move to the right, but there's no right click, move back to the left, which is hilarious. They got to work on that design stuff. Because all of this is because I'm an idiot, and I didn't realize you can just drag and drop these things. So you can drag and drop them. But of course, it never occurred to me because I used the menu to move it in the first place. It never occurred to me to just drag it back, and I could not figure out how to get it back. So second PSA, if you accidentally do move something to the right, just drag it. Just drag it. You can get it back on the left.
Exactly. Boom.
It's funny.
No, I love it. I think it's super, super duper cool. So there's all sorts of good things in there. And like, we probably just like scraped the surface, basically, like the things that you can do and like things that they announced.
I think you opened my world by just telling me, honestly, I used github.com/copilot as just a friend, just someone to chat with from time to time. It didn't occur to me that you can actually ask it to do real work there. So yeah, I recommend everyone look on that left-hand thing, maybe click on the agents thing, maybe click on the cloud sessions, or the spaces and things like that. I did not know you could actually tell it to go do some real work. I thought I had to go create an issue and assign it. No, I'm just gonna tell it to get to work right now.
Yeah, I do it literally like on the plane. I joked, but if you went to my X account, I was working on. I think I was working on. This is what I do before bed. I actually have the GitHub mobile app. In the GitHub mobile app, there's just a cloud tasks, but also on the repo, you can just like cloud task go. So yeah, if you go, what did I tweet? Let me see where's my media, and then here it is. I was like coding on my way home, and it was like agent tasks. It's like feedback flow. I was like verify static apps. That's add security headers. Like update the homepage with this thing, and I gave it work to do. Like I was just go do this thing and then done. So I do that all the time. Basically, it's like go do the thing.
That's great. Yeah, I will have to pin that one up. Good. Well,
it's super fun. Super fun.
I am glad that it seems like you had a really good time in San Francisco, and I think you educated all of us on things, because I can't keep up with all this. Like I said, I just get drunk after the first paragraph. So thank you for walking me through paragraphs 2, 3, and 4. I'm not sure I'll use all the features, but I'm going to use the heck out of awesome-copilot and github.com/copilot.
I tell people, like, even if you're just doing the thing that you talked about, which is like go to github.com/copilot and just like talk to it about a repo, or you go to your repo and talk about it, like draft an issue like on your repo. Like that's way like you've already like started your journey. And like actually the fun part is you can do that in the mobile app. Like if you open the GitHub mobile app, which I hadn't had for a while until I've been starting to do all this stuff, is turn off notifications because you don't need that. But there's legitimately just like a Copilot button on the bottom right, and you can just like chat with it. It's like, let's go. It's like,
it's
just do a thing.
But we have to talk. We have to talk to the business people there. I don't have the GitHub app on my phone because it link jacks everything. If you click on a github.com link, it always goes into the app, and I hate that. I really, really hate that. So if they ever turn off the link jacking, I'll try the app out again, because I do like the app. I just hate that every time I try to go to github.com.
It's in the settings.
They finally put it in there just for me.
Yeah, it says prefer universal links. You can just turn it off. So.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, so I'm not the only one that was driven insane by that. I will give their app a second try.
I will also say the GitHub. I think that the GitHub, I'll stake in the ground. The GitHub iOS app, I think, is an app that makes the best use of Liquid Glass so far that I have.
Bam. Wow.
That's not an Apple
fired.
app.
Okay.
It's very, very nice. It was updated on day one, ready to roll. And it's very nice. It all like the menus, all the things. It's very, very good. So not yet a Liquid Glass believer necessarily, but it looks and it feels very nice. Listen, and I can blame myself, but if you have an app, you have tabs on the bottom. You got to update. You got to update, because the drag and drop thing is like amazing. I do it with every app. Even the Rover app, which I've complained about so much, has updated with Liquid Glass, at least on the bottom. And that's all you need to do. So if you have the tabs on the bottom, you got to update it. You got to do it. I mean, I got to do it in my app still, but like,
if you're a .NET developer, there's no reason not to. There were no major breaking changes this round, so you just bump up. You use that 10.0 RC2 puppy and get on it.
Boom. I'm ready. All right, well, that's gonna do it for this week's Merge Conflict. Let us know what your favorite thing from GitHub Universe was. If you watched it, if you watched any of the keynotes and stuff at youtube.com/GitHub. Check them out there. Right into the show, mergeconflict.fm, or you can hit us up on the Twitter X or wherever else we may be on the internet. But that's going to do it for this week's Merge Conflict. So until next time, I'm James Montemagno.
And I'm Frank Kruger. Thanks for watching and listening.
Peace.